Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. I've got another giant kit. Yes, no, just kidding. I'm excited about this one right here. This is the new Takom Panther A with full interior. And as you can see, it's a monster kit. I was teasing about that because I just got done, obviously if you watch my channel, just got done building the Ryfield Models Panther G with full interior. And that was about 1,200 parts. In fact, had a little problem with even vision after looking at it a little while. It was just a minor thing, guys, though. So yeah, look it up. It's called an ocular migraine, and you just start seeing stars and things like that because of the number of parts. But it went away, and I haven't had one since. So we'll take it a little bit slower maybe on this kit right here. But enough of that right here. I'm excited about this. I've got a special plan in mind for building this kit up that I'll share with you guys in a few minutes here. But because there are, so many different ways to show this off, we did the last one, it's got the clear plastic. Now this particular kit does not have clear plastic, so it's a solid hull, and it also does not have the Zimmerit on the vehicle. So I've got a special idea in mind with it. And the reason I say with the Zimmerit, because I know late Panther Ds had Zimmerit and early Panther Gs had Zimmerit. So I could be wrong, but I'm assuming all Panther As, at least everyone I've seen, have all had Zimmerit on it. So we would need to put Zimmerit on this kit right here. But with my special idea that I have in mind, I think we won't have to on this one right here. So let's get started on it. Okay, we're back now, and now I can explain the special plan I have for this particular kit. Now, I'm not going to do a review at all of the parts because we did a video about that about a week ago now, that if you want to, just go back, take a look at it, and it'll explain all the sprues and all that kind of stuff. But what I plan on doing with this particular kit is, you guys are familiar with this book right here. This is being reissued by Culver and Feist. It's on the Panther, of course. And I'm going to open it up to the right page. I am thinking I am going to do a diorama of a Panther factory. And these are some of the photos that are inside this book here that have some of the openings, things like that inside of it. But let me explain to you what my idea is going to be. So we'll have a scrap piece of paper here. What I'm basically going to do is we're going to take a board, a little bit bigger than that, not to scale, of course. On this back piece right here, we will build like the wall of a Panther factory. We'll put girders and things like that, and whatever we can find. There's quite a few pictures in that book showing the insides of the factory. Then in the middle here, we will have the Panther. But we will have the Panther basically in its construction form. So it will be minus the turret, so all you'll have is the opening in there. The whole back will be open too. Now obviously this is not the scale, guys. We've got this panel right here that holds the driver's compartment and radio operators. The hatches go right here. We'll have this removed, these all removed, the turret removed. For the turret, I plan on building out of girders. I've seen these before where they would store turrets. We'll kind of have it placed off to the side here. Now, because it'll be in the factory form, it'll be in a type that they're assembling the vehicle, so the Zimmerit would not have been applied yet. So we can, there's a picture inside there that has the road wheels and everything attached. The tracks are not on, the turret's not on, and as well as all the panels. So we can build it kind of like that. Now, the other thing I'm hoping to do too is, possibly, we might be able to put a mirror in on this side and a mirror in on this, or up to this point, I should say. I'm not positive if we're going to do the mirror thing. The mirror thing might be kind of cool later on, because if you look at it from this angle, you'll just see with mirrors on both sides, you'll see a continuous row of Panthers being assembled. So what we'll do is we'll have the road wheels on. Some of them will be in red oxide primer. We can write on the hull, like what they did with the chalk, saying what number it was. Kind of cool stuff like that. Plus there's some pictures in the book there of a gantry, or not a gantry, a ladder that they would use to climb up on top of the vehicles. So we could have the turret up front here on its platform right here, and just a cool looking diorama. And I'll see if I can find some like acetylene torches and tools and stuff like that we can leave all around it. Now this particular video is not going to be all of the building of the diorama, of course. This video is strictly about the Takom Panther. So we will build this around it, but that's how we're going to make the tank right now, ready to pop right inside of this particular diorama. So obviously I've got a lot of work ahead of me with the Panther as well as the diorama, but we'll keep you up to date on both of those. Real fast too, since some of you might be looking at this book, and if you haven't seen some of the other videos, this book is being reissued by Feist Books, and they're only doing a limited run, and at the time of I'm making this video right now, they've got about 50 copies still available in the pre-order, and after the pre-order is filled up, they aren't taking any more orders, and the book is going to be completely sold out. And this is a one-shot deal that they're reissuing this. So if you're interested in getting this book, you can go to feistbooks.com. I'll put the web address on the bottom right there, and you can check it out. Okay, we're attaching the floor supports, or the floor supports in the bottom of the vehicle. We've already ran this channel down the middle of it here. We have a little bit more of this other channeling we need to put in here as well. And already I'm liking the way these front to back floor supports fit in. They kind of just click right into place here. This one goes the other direction. It too just clicks right into place and makes up much quicker and easier type piece to mess around with. Then once we'll glue all these into place now, but we're also going to go ahead and then we go ahead and attach the insides. Oops, let's glue this down first. Now obviously it's not a bathtub style hull in this kit because of all of the internals that you need to pop into place here. So we need to glue in part of this gearing on the side here. And then once that gets popped in there, which it did fit a second ago, there it goes, we can go ahead and mount this to the side, which you can see right away. It kind of just snaps right into place there. And then we've got this exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to get the other gearing, put it on this side in here, and then we'll snap these two pieces together, and we'll pretty much have our bathtub style hull at that point. Before you attach the left side of the hull, you want to assemble the transmission first, and that's what we'll do in this little section. We're just going to glue up the last little bit of the transmission, and I want to show you guys a little something. They recommend gluing these braces into the transmission. I think it's just going to be a lot easier if you glue the first brace in, come back, add the transmission to it, and then come and get this on the other side. When this was on, I had a little bit of difficulty trying to get it to line up just perfect. So I think it'll be a lot easier if you do it after the fact. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of this glued on now. And yeah, just like this. That'll get glued in there. And finally this last little brace. And we'll be able to mount it inside the vehicle now. As you can see, we've got the transmission in now, as well as we've got the plumbing in, and the plumbing is much easier to put in once the piece is in place. And the final thing we'll do is put these shocks, which you definitely have to do before you glue the sides on. And then once you get those two pieces in, this whole piece just clicks together, just like that. And you've got a really nice looking hull down there. So I'm going to glue all these pieces together and we'll move on to the next step. Stop, wait a minute. I made a little mistake in that last little section of video. I showed how these pieces just pop into place here, and they do. They fit very, very well. But what I forgot to do was put the torsion bars in first. Now I did glue these up, but I noticed it fairly quickly, so I was able to separate it. And rather than change the video, I thought I could edit it, but if I change that and show all that other part, you don't see how the rest of this goes together. So I made a little mistake on it, and part of it was when I was looking at the instructions here, you see this piece right here, I didn't see the broken line, so I kind of just assumed, okay, we're going to pop this right onto the side right now. But meanwhile, on the next page, they're saying, no, don't do that. Put the torsion bars in first. So a little mistake on my part, but we were able to catch it, and I want to point it out to you guys too. What we're going to do now is I'm going to leave this portion right here. All of this gets painted red oxide primer. So I'm going to take that with a can of our Tamiya fine surface primer in red oxide for panthers, tigers, everything, panzers, I guess I should say. And we're going to paint this whole thing up right here. We're only going to paint the bottom, so I'm going to mask off right here because this portion needs to be the creamy off-white. And we're going to paint after I get done sanding them all, we're going to paint all of these flat black. Glue those into place, slide it all together, and put it back together the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to take that stuff outside and, like I said, use the can on it, and we'll show you what it looks like once I get it put back together properly. Okay, the next little tip I'm going to give you is going to save you a lot of time and aggravation. Now, in the instructions, they want you to take the torsion bars and glue them into place. And I thought twice. Before I glued them in, I thought, you know what, we're going to try this first. Just pushing them in and just holding them there, very, very hard because there is a million little holes in here that you have to get all these torsion bars through. So save yourself some time. Just take the bars, push them through, just the way like this. It's very simple to do one at a time. You can just push it through the little hole, and then the short torsion bar, because I said that, there it goes. We'll lock right into the other hole, bang, you're done on it. And then we can glue the sides right into place. And what you can do is you can push these in further than they need to go, get the sides glued on, then come from the other side, push it back, and put a little touch of glue in there, and you'll have a nice surface on it. Now, I just roughly painted this bottom right here with the red oxide as well as the back and the front. We're going to go back in and mask all of that to do the cream white color. But for right now, I just threw a piece of masking tape over it and just threw the paint on it. So I'm going to spend a few minutes right now, get this all lined up and put back together again. And as soon as I'm done, I will show you what it looks like. Real quick, I thought I would do is I glued this one side on, and once you get that side all set up, just go in with a pair of tweezers, line this up on that side, and we'll put a little glue inside there and just push it into place, and you'll get them all gotten all these already lined up in there. And so that's how easy, and we'll do the exact same thing on the other side once we glue that side on. Okay, I've gone ahead and I've started attaching the suspension springs on the side of the vehicle here. And as you can see, we've got the suspension arms all laid out here. Now, there are 3 individual suspension arms that I had put into piles over here and then separated them out to the point where, okay, now we can put them in the exact order they are. And you can kind of hopefully see some of the size differences in some of the suspension arms. Now, the way Takom does it, there are some holes here and a fairly large pin on this side that'll lock it into place right there. And in doing so, you're going to get the exact angle that you need out of it and not having to worry about getting it wrong and having one wheel off the ground. So it's just a matter of going down the line and start putting these all into place. And then once we get all of that into place, we can use this guide to line up all of our suspension arms to make sure they're all just proper. And then after that, the final thing we'll put on will be the final drive that'll get glued right into place just like that. And once that gets on there, hopefully you can see up here, we've started to assemble a lot of the road wheels. Now, I will put the road wheels on, but we won't attach them, obviously, because we want to glue those. We don't want to glue those into place until we've done all the painting on that. So let me go ahead and put all the suspension arms, and we'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, all the suspension arms are in place now. So that means we can go ahead and start attaching all of the road wheels. And it's just a matter of figuring out the pattern and going back and forth with it until you get all the road wheels on. Now, one quick little thing that I'll point out to you, there is a little bit of a hole inside here that lines up with that. I did have to take some a sanding stick and just lightly go over the edge of the interlaced road wheel, and that just makes this one slide together perfectly. So it was a little tight before there, and I didn't want to damage any of the suspension arms, you know, trying to push it too hard into place on it there. So you can see how the suspension and the wheels all line up pretty easily, and we're not going to attach any of that stuff right now just because we still have to do some work and we want to paint all those up separately. So with that done, now we can start working on the interior of the hull. I'm just taking a second here and kind of dry fitting in all of the little sub-assemblies that start making up the inside of the hull. And I just have to compliment Takom quite a bit because everything fits really, really well on this kit. And that's primarily because they've installed little slots or little tiny areas here that'll match up to the other piece. For example, like this little piece, there's a little groove that'll make this line up just right so you know you're getting it in the exact right spot. None of this other gray stuff is glued into place. I just placed it in there just to see the fit. The fit is great. There's always little places to attach it properly. So now that I've dry fitted all of those little things, I obviously want to take them out and paint them separately now because they are getting painted different colors. Some of this stuff, like these floors, are going to get painted the red oxide primer. Like some of the ammunition bins, things like that, as well as the insides of the engine compartment will all be like a red oxide primer too. So we're going to take all these pieces, get them all over to the painting table, paint those all up. We also have begun working on all of the ammunition bins. Now the ammunition bins obviously are not going to have ammunition in it based on the fact that we're doing it with a like a factory setting where they wouldn't have ammunition inside of it already. So we've got all those built up. So we'll start painting all these things and start putting them into place. Well, you can see here we've gone ahead and painted all of the colors that were necessary to be inside the vehicle. We painted the transmission kind of like a shade lighter than German gray. Took German gray and added about 25% of a lighter gray to it. Did the same thing for the containers here, the batteries. We've also painted up the part of the drivetrain that will snap right into here. That'll get glued down in there. And then we also have the firewall painted up, the half white with the red oxide. And it also did go back inside here and paint the insides of the fighting compartment the white color that you can see in there. And you can get a little bit of overspray. All of that is going to get covered up in there, so it won't even matter. I think we did a pretty decent job, though, not getting it everywhere. And then finally, this piece will come on, and this will drop right into place here and fit right around the transmission. Cover all this stuff up here, too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these pieces glued into place right here, and then we can start working on the ammo bins to put those in place. So we have all of our ammo bins in place. We have our firewall between the engine. We also have the two sidewalls for the engine compartment all put into place here. We've also gone ahead and painted up the sides of the sponson, and this portion right here is also part of the engine. So what will happen here is these will get glued right into place like that. Kind of actually click right in there. So we'll have this area is where the radiators will go. I think the other part of the fuel tank is on there as well. Of course, the ammo stowage bins are on here. So I will glue both of those into place in a few minutes there. Don't want to do it exactly yet, just to make sure that there's nothing else in the way, because it's not called out in the next step, but it is pretty soon. Now we've also gone ahead and built up the idler wheels, which we will attach right there. Those have like a pressure fitting on it. And we also have the drive sprockets, which, because of the type of setup we're going to do this, at the factory, we'll probably just go ahead and glue those right into place. But don't want to do that exactly yet. We want to make sure nothing else is going to happen. And then you can see we've got all the painting and stuff done. We put the green on the inside of the ammo bins. I also did run a light wash over everything as well to make it kind of pop a little bit. And that's mainly because once we pop this piece on, that locks into place, and you can see what we can still see inside here. But what I'm planning on doing is, I think we'll be able to drill either a hole here or here in the middle. And I'm thinking if I can run a light maybe up through, like between these ammo bins right here, and put a little wire that you wouldn't be able to see, and then mounting to the top in here a little LED that would illuminate basically, especially right here in the front, either here or here, depending. I don't want to see, like I said, see the wire at all, so it might have to be here because we'll run it up the front. But I think it would be a nice little thing that we can really shed some light in here, like a factory situation where they have like a work light running, something like that. And you can see how, once you get this thing to lock in here, lines up pretty good. And you can see quite a bit in there too. And with the light going inside there, I think that'll be a nice little addition. I'm still not 100% sure about the light yet. We're going to play it by ear as we get a little bit closer to the end of the build. So, with the majority of the interior complete on this vehicle, our next step will be to start working on the engine compartment, the radiators, pieces like that. So I think this is going to be a good natural stopping point for episode 1 of this build. In episode 2, obviously, we will work on the engine and the rear engine deck here, but we'll also work on the turret as well and any lighting if we do decide that we're going to have that inside. I do have to say, in completing of what we have done so far, the fit on this vehicle has been very, very well. The engineering and the way everything kind of just falls together is very, very nice, especially when you have a kit with, let's just face it, quite a few parts on it. There is way over 1,000 parts on this kit just by looking at the sprues. So it is very nice that everything is fitting properly in the way it's supposed to. So what we'll do is we'll end this right now for this particular video, and I want to thank you for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming. In fact, volume 2 should be out pretty soon.